Good morning, class 8. Today we will start the next point. It is counter interval. What is counter interval? Counter interval are drawn at a different vertical intervals like 20, 10, 150, 100 meter above the mean sea level and are known as counter interval. These are constantly on a these are usually constant in a given map. It is generally expressed in meters. See here. Okay. While the vertical interval between the two successive counter lines remains constant, the horizontal distance varies. This distance varies from place to place. Depending upon the nature of the slope. As it is not possible to level the elevation of each counter line, so every fifth counter line vertically is an index counter. Index counters are shown by darker brown lines on the map and they are usually labeled as you have seen in the early picture. Some basic features of counter lines are the counter lines is drawn to show places of equal heights. Lines and their shapes represent the height and slope of the gradient on the landform. Closely placed counters represent steep slopes, while widely shaped counters represent gentle slopes. See here, closely, these are gentle slopes, these are steep slopes. Okay. When two or more counter lines merge with each other, they represent feature of vertical slopes as a cliff or waterfall. Two counters of different elevation do not cross each other. See here, none of the lines have crossed each other. Identification of landforms through these counter lines. The types and shapes, types of slopes, all these things are being found by this counter lines. Now there are different types of representation. From a map we can study through the counter lines. We can know whether it is a gentle slope or a steep slope. For gentle slope, the degree of the angle of slope of a feature is very low. The slope will be gentle. The counter representation of these types of slopes are far apart, while the steep slopes, they are closely packed. They indicate steep slopes, so they are closely drawn. Their distance is not far apart. Now, identification through counters. Conical hills. It rises almost uniformly from the surrounding land. Everywhere it is same. So these are fars. That means the slope is gentle. And that's why the distance is also at a certain level. The intervals are in a regular, counters are spaced almost at a regular interval. The narrowest tip of the hill is called peak. This one is known as peak. Then it is plateau. When it is plateau, you can see the top is flat. So this shows it is a plateau. And in adjoining plains, there are slopes running above the adjoining plains. So from the sea level, so the gaps are farther. This shows that it is a plateau. The counter lines representing a plateau are normally close spaced at a margin with a innermost counter showing wide gap between its two sides. Then this one is ridge. Ridge means the ridge is a long narrow range of hills, square steep with here it is closer, that means there it is steep with alternative peaks. See, here is one peak, here is one round. That means in between there is gap and these two are peaks. Okay, and they usually separate river valleys. The counter of the ridge are long and narrow or elliptical in shape. The lines are close together on both the sides, indicating they have steep slopes. Here also see. These are of two. This is of a mountain. Next, gap. Gap, that means between two mountains when there is a space, low-lying depression or valley which occur through range of hills, between two hills. It is drawn in this way. Saddle. Saddle, the low point between two, here, these two lines, these are two plateaus. Higher ground, these are higher grounds. Okay, a saddle is most easily identified as a low wide depression between two hilltops. This is one hill, and the gap between these are far. That means it is very deep, and so this is known as saddle, resembling the saddle of a horse. Saddle on which the horse sits down. Horse is placed so that a rider can jump on it. So it is like in the middle it is round and two sides it is mounted. So it is like that only. Col is when the depression between two peaks is narrow and at a higher level. It is called col. Narrow to higher level, it is known as col, between A and C. Pass. A mountain pass is low point between two areas of higher elevation, providing a route or passage to cross over the other side. Here is one mountain, here is one mountain. The space provided one can pass from this place to that place. So this is known as pass. This is known as pass. So here this space is known as pass. Okay. Now, interpretation of cultural features from topographical map. Maps also helps us to understand which type of settlements are there, whether it is town, villages, or the infrastructure surfaces like water, electricity, everything is provided or not, factories are there or not, what ability of water, mining, industry, transport, climate, relief facts, all the distribution and pattern of settlements can be found in these types of maps. Now, on a topo map, all settlements are shown in symbol of red color. The size of the symbol and size of the style of letter used give an idea of the size of the settlement. In case of large cities, major roads are marked and named. Desert areas, cities, temporarily occupied huts are also shown. Places of worship, forts, water towers, burial grounds, police station, post office, duck bungalows, all these are indicated with suitable symbols, which you have seen that some symbols are used on maps. With those symbols it is denoted on a map. Dense settlement, where people are settling in a large amount, those are places which is fertile plains with wide river valleys. Sparse settlements are areas like forest, desert, mountain slopes, plateaus, the hilltops, and poor vegetation. Types of settlements. Linear settlements are settlements where the buildings are constructed in line. See, here it is constructed in a line with roads on both the sides. These features are shown on the map. Often next to the geographical features like lake, shore, or river, following a road. This is a road. While linear settlements follow a road, and road often predates the settlement. Nucleated are one where the houses are grouped closely together, often around. See, you can see people are settled close around, and it is that there are difference in these two. A central feature like a church, pub, or village green. New settlements that are planned often have a nucleated pattern. Depressed settlements are where houses are scattered over a wide area. See, houses are built over a wide area. The settlements can be identified in survey map by red squares spread over a wide area. See here, this is a sample of a topographical map. Next is radial settlement. Such settlements are common in towns and villages where the dwelling spread out to several directions. East, west, north, south. There are different houses built in it which can be shown. And from a center point it is being scattered everywhere, which is either around a big water body or many roads joined together at a place. It can be anything. Urban settlements and settlements that are bigger than rural settlements are most of the population, and most of the population is involved in a secondary or territory activities instead of agricultural activities. Employments in urban settlement is usually in trading, manufacturing, banking jobs. Urban settlements are well connected and have facilities like schools, universities, hospitals that are easily available. So, these types of maps can be shown in it. The interpretation of topographical sheet involves the identification and description of physical features, the man-made features like public facilities, transport, irrigation, occupation, etc., etc. All these are shown in these types of maps and helps us to know where what is situated. These are the pages with symbols, conventional symbols used on maps. You have to know the symbols. Thank you.